Welcome again to the Hudspeth Bug Out. Today I'm going to talk about how to buy remote acreage for your escape. Regardless of why you are looking for land of your own, whether it be to have a place to get away to or something you just want to invest in or pass on to your children, buying land in West Texas is easier than you might think. I'm not a realtor, nor an investment advisor, nor associated with any of the places that offer land that I'll cover today, but I have been a customer more than once, and I can attest to the simplicity and legitimacy of purchasing land over the internet, even sight unseen, at least in Hudspeth County. This time I'm not going to cover special considerations or things to be wary of regarding the land you are looking to purchase, just the process itself. If you want to know more about what to look for in land before you buy it, you can follow a link I'll place below my discussion on what to look for in off-grid land. So how to start? If you're interested in land in West Texas and you want to perform a search for available acreage, there are a few sites that I recommend, including landwatch.com, texasranchdeals.com, and yourcheapland.com. Once you've looked at these sites and you have your eye on some good acreage, you really only need to follow a few clicks, supply your credit or debit card and personal information, place a down payment, or outright buy the land if your card will allow the transaction. Otherwise, you may need to split it up. Having purchased land in another part of Texas that required a title company and bank's involvement, I was shocked at how simple the process is, at least in Hudspeth County. Payments and financing. Having selected your chosen plot, typically you'll see a Buy button, which will take you to a payment page with some disclaimers and notes you should read. Some sites will offer a discount from the overall price or better financing if you make a bigger down payment. A plot I purchased from the Sunset Ranches had such an offer for a discounted price if I made an extra one-time payment to principal, so I selected the largest down payment option, which still only was slightly over $1,000 for both down payment and the extra payment. In the end, my intent was to pay off the land quickly, which I did, so this discount offer was just a nice bonus. That said, I can see people opting for the financing. It really is dead simple. Each month, the Sunset Ranches, in this example, would send me a bill for around $180. Considering you get 20 acres to use as you will, even while financing, just as you would if you were mortgaging your home, that's an attractive price to stick with month after month. One downside to financing is that if you want to buy more land from the same seller, the Sunset Ranches require you to pay off your first purchase before you move to finance another piece of land, though there may be some accommodation for something like purchasing two adjacent lots at once. If you're nervous about doing it all online, you can usually find a contact phone number to call for the sites I referenced. Feel free to ask questions and discuss the land you wish to buy with one of the representatives from the land sale company. I spoke to some helpful people since I was not used to purchasing land without the involvement of a title company or a bank. They assured me of the simplicity of the transaction, and they were correct. It's worth noting that the people I've spoken to were not even located in Texas, but they were still very familiar with the unique qualities of the land and were able to provide details and maps when I asked. If you want to pay off the land in one shot, you may find that the online approach doesn't work as well as it does for financing and extra payments. The payment site at Texas Ranch Deals wouldn't allow payments larger than $2,000 in 24 hours. So you might pay in increments each day or pay by check instead if you want to pay the land in full faster. Owner or seller financing is generally possible without any involvement by a bank or a credit check. Make sure you read all the fine print. I didn't have any problems since I paid for my land quickly, but if you are the type who misses payments regularly, you will want to avoid doing that, or risk defaulting on your loan and potentially forfeiting everything you paid up until that point. The lure of low payments is certainly enticing, but make sure you have the financial discipline and wherewithal to pay the land off. Paying in full is not necessary, however, to begin to develop and enjoy your land. Some sites offer special prices on cash-only deals, as I mentioned above. Potentially, saving you several $1,000s, and these are worth considering. Tours and same value property swaps. Some land sellers might offer you the opportunity to see your land once you've purchased it with a one-time free guided tour. I highly recommend this if you can afford to make the trip. It's an experience. You may also have the opportunity to ask for a different plot of land available for the same price if there is one. If for some reason you don't like this specific location, for example, if it is very deep into a section and there are same priced options closer to the exit, or perhaps you'd like to be even more remote and off a well-traveled road. Deeds. The purchase of your land, once completed, should result in the seller providing you with a warranty deed. Think of it like the title for the car you paid off, but for land. Investopedia describes a warranty deed as a document often used in real estate that provides the greatest amount of protection to the purchaser of a property. It pledges or warrants that the owner owns the property free and clear of any outstanding liens, mortgages, or other encumbrances against it. I have received a warranty deed for land purchased. It is worth noting that the final copy of the deed is processed by Hudspeth County itself, and that process can take around 6 to 8 weeks to turn around and get into your mailbox. Here's some example of some language in the contract to look for. Quote, upon completion of all payments hereunder, the seller, within 45 days, shall deliver to buyer a recorded warranty deed to the land described, subject to restrictions, easements, and reservations of record. End quote. Taxes. Once you own the land, you will be responsible to pay taxes on it. Even if you are just making payments on the land, the tax burden is still on you. You'll be familiar with this concept even if you have a mortgage on a home. The good news is that taxes for 20 acres of raw, undeveloped land in Hudspeth County are around $100 a year. If you develop and put in a permanent residence on the land, then your taxes will rise accordingly. Because of that, a distinction you'll want to look for in the restrictions would be around camping on your land. Here's a sample of the language from land purchase from Sunset Ranches about that. Property taxes. Buyer will be responsible for all property taxes assessed after the date of the agreement. Taxes will be collected from buyer by seller or its agent and are presently estimated to be $100 per year. And this includes a $10 administrative fee per 20-acre lot based on present use. And that's a key point right there, based on present use. It's assuming that you don't, build a mansion on the land and then your taxes get reassessed. Tax amounts are determined by the average assessment by the county per 20-acre lot. Buyer will receive an invoice from the seller at the end of each year to be paid within 30 days of receipt. So I assume that would be true. The invoice from the seller would be true if you were financing, right? But if you've purchased it outright, you should get a tax notice from the county as you would, in your current home. All right, land use. You could have the right to use and camp on your selected plot of land within minutes. You generally are not allowed to set permanent camp up on land unless you have the county inspect your land and turn it into a permanent residence, in which case you'd be putting yourself up for assessment. But you can camp on your land up to 30 days at a time with proper intervals. I believe the intervals are one of the places I purchased was, and this may actually apply to land within the county, with exceptions, I suppose, is 60 days. So you can be on your land for 30 days, then you have to wait basically 2 months before you can spend another full 30 days. I don't think anybody is going to care or notice if you were to say go and camp there every other weekend, for example, because you're not getting near the 30 days at a time limit. So you're going back, you're leaving camp, you're taking up, you're pulling up your stakes and leaving, and then coming back, right? So the point of this rule is to prevent people who are looking to live on the land from simply setting up a tent I assume that some of the reasons for this are around livability, waste disposal, things like that. So somebody who sets up a tent on the land with the intent to, and no pun intended there, to live in the off the land there for forever, is going to be dumping waste and other things without a proper county inspection, a septic system, or anything like that, right? So, long story short, just make sure that if you plan to live on your land, then you just want to have the county come out and inspect your setup once you intend to permanently reside there. So what you could do, for example, is if you're preparing your land over the course of months or years, save the permanent residence for last, and camp out occasionally at your land during visits, and do other things around the property, like clear a driveway or install fencing or gates or things like that. Land around Hudspeth County is a good choice. It is a very large county even for Texas, so there's plenty of land, and compared to some other surrounding counties, it seems to have a good amount of subdivided land available for purchase at reasonable prices. The area around Van Horn and Culberson County can also have some good deals. Other nearby counties I've checked, however, such as Jeff Davis County, seem to offer only very large purchases of hundreds of acres or more. And smaller counties to the northeast of Hudspeth County, for example, tend to not have as much wide open land for sale, and if you look at the maps, they appear to be all dominated by either farmland or are already carved out into grids of streets with homes on them. Hudspeth County, on the other hand, is there are huge expanses everywhere. What drew me to Hudspeth County? Well, first and foremost, I had driven through West Texas a few times on my way to see family in Arizona, and I was taken by the vast stretches of picturesque open land, like something out of an old Western movie. In fact, movies can't quite do the views justice. Some might even consider these empty acres going on into the horizon lonely, but for me, it was and is a very attractive way to get away from a noisy and digitally obsessed world. Personally, I was not interested in plots smaller than 5 acres, nor in land that, while perfect, would have me financing it for years to come. Hudspeth County, however, hit that sweet spot by offering 5 to 40 acre parcels at costs from around $3,000 to $38,000. Although there are larger, more expensive lots, that was the average I noticed. Not too small and not too expensive to pay off. To be sure, some people might look at land offered very cheaply in remote parts of the country with the derisive term of junk land, especially without bubbling creeks of fresh water cascading down, nor any large leafy green trees. But my take is that if you can access it via maintained roads and tame it, and it's firm land under your feet, it's a treasure in my book, and it was exactly what I wanted. Perhaps you'll decide it's what you want also. That's all this time from the Hudspeth Bug Out. If you liked this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. Until next time.